Alright then guys, what is going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're inside of Diablo 4 where we have got a load of information for you guys. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, so confirmation of the largest butcher inside of the game and why that's the case, community complaints and wishes for Diablo 4, and some stuff coming from Reddit, which is a little bit concerning to say the least, and hopefully these are things that Blizzard are going to be listening to and making alterations on. Now with that being said, if you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also, make sure you check out our sponsor Advanced GG and use code CLOUD for a cheeky discount. My favorite flavor though in the #1 clinically proven energy supplement is cherry vanilla. Links in the description with a load of different flavors for you to pick from, so check it out. With that being said though, let's dive on in for some Diablo news. So, starting off, yesterday we actually announced a bit of a post that went up on Reddit for the largest butcher ever, and we now have a confirmation as to what this actually is. So it states, whoa, that's big. Luckily it didn't take Reddit long to figure out what was happening. It's a pretty interesting theory, as Swiss Army Wolf laid it out. Apparently the dungeon had the Avenger affix, which increases both the damage and size of monsters near others that are killed. Yep, that's right, the Butcher is an Avenger now. Normally you wouldn't spot the size changes as they're pretty minor on smaller monsters, but they're big. It's crazy. But even more hilarious than that, as the guy actually came out this size, he didn't get bigger as they found him. That means that he was sitting nearby as the players killed many monsters, continuously getting bigger and bigger, only to ambush them when he was huge. It's interesting to know that the Butcher may be with us in our dungeon for a while before he actually shows up, stalking us from the shadows. His boogeyman status just got a lot more accurate. That is actually really clever, and I think that the concept on that is actually genius, thinking that the Butcher is pretty much stalking your motive around these dungeons and watching you progress through, and then just ambushes in a giant state because of the Avenger affix. Very clever concept indeed, and actually I think that this is something which is really well done, really well done. But moving on to some other things that we have seen right now. Icy Veins actually posted up a article piece which was about the community complaints and wishes for Diablo 4, and there does seem to be a hell of a lot of things. Now we're not going to break everything down because we'd be here for a long time, so I'm going to leave the link down in the description for you guys so you can just check it out if you want to, but there is so much stuff that they've got talking about inside of here. Some of the general complaints that they have managed to corroborate though with regards to the inventory is that stash space is extremely small. There's not even worth playing any alts, just basically on the basis that you haven't got a whole character's worth of space to be able to collect your gear. So this is something that people are really getting peed off about at the moment. I've seen a lot of Reddit posts with regards to the stash space, but it's not even just that. They're also stating that aspects taking up space is a huge concern, as many just want to go to the codex instead of having a separate codex-like option for extracted ones at the Oculist. On top of that as well, we've also got elixirs and sigils that shouldn't take up bag space at all, but have a separate infinite section, and organization of the stash is a nightmare. Aspects of the same type look the same, but just finding what piece of gear has what on it is pretty difficult to say the least. So as an overall, the inventory section inside of this game is pretty damn bad. Especially if you play on console, you can't maneuver any of the items around, they just kind of sit in your inventory the way they do, which is extremely irritating. And then when we start moving on to other things, such as actual stash space itself, it's just not enough to be able to corroborate having numerous characters and being able to have some variety inside of those without just having the single build and having that character hold his main gear. Now these are a list of things right here though that are practical things that are very annoying. Now apparently respawning after dying can put you extremely far away from where you died in the Nightmare dungeons. This happens quite often, pretty much all over the map. Depending on what area you actually die in, it can spawn you on the opposite side of said area, and if you are in Nightmare Dungeons, it can spawn you into somewhere that you just have no idea where you are. It's actually hilarious how that one works, and this is something that really needs fixing. On top of that though, we have got re-rolling affixes. At the enchanter does not show possible outcomes or affix ranges, which is something that a lot of people are talking about yet again on Reddit. So that doesn't surprise me at all, and extracting aspects should give you the item's transmog. I feel like transmog is just one of those things now, and if it gets dismantled, just bloody apply it. Sacred and ancient items can be difficult to tell apart in the inventory. Again, I've heard this a lot. Although it is becoming a little easier to start to understand which one's which. Your casual players are definitely not being able to notice the difference inside of these two items. And finally, this is a bigger one as well, is the paragons. Now, paragon and respec costs in general are extremely high, and also that the respec all option for paragon board is badly needed. On top of that, though, we have got the paragon glyphs that need to have their names shown on them without having to click on them. This seems to be an issue that we see quite frequently, and especially with the icons having completely the same icons can be so frustrating. It's absolutely ridiculous. So this is something that they definitely need to work on, to say the least. There is absolutely loads of the general map related items and travel related queries that they've put in here as well. Like I said, the link is down in the description, but I can't read them all out because we'll be here all day. But just a general wide ranging and stuff like that. Build variety needs to be enlarged. We've got loot filters that are not there. Remove the side quest cap, which we spoke about a little bit yesterday, and a lot of people are really complaining about that. Also the in-game world boss and Helltide timers, the same old, but this is something that a lot of people are talking about and that they just need to get on board with and get changed as soon as possible. This can be quite frustrating, and I do feel for a lot of players right now that are really struggling with this sort of stuff, and one of which it seems to be anybody of the older generation by the looks of this, is we've got a post right here that says, why 30 plus persons in this sub always trying to mention their age, like, hi, I'm 30 and I get sleepy when I'm playing. But when we actually look at the posts, there is one right here that received 10,000 upvotes, 10.7k to be precise, and it states the following: 30 years old and I realise D4 grind just isn't for me. I just get great satisfaction from running dungeons and looking for loot in Diablo 3. I'm not sure if it's a formula of Diablo 4 or if it's just me getting older, but I'm getting super bored grinding my levels and doing dungeons. The overall experience feels very monotonous after the first few hours, and I think I have to do it all over again in a new season. It is going to be tough. I did not have that feeling in Diablo 3. I was hooked by the grind, or maybe it's just the color palette and overall pace of Diablo 4 that makes me like this. Almost sleepy playing this game. Anybody else in their 30s feeling this? And this is over 10,000 people upvoting, which on the Reddit is actually a lot of people, considering right now active people inside of that Reddit we have 20,000. So you can take that into however you want to, and I know a lot of people get really like moany about this sort of stuff, but it's just generally the case, and it's not even the only post that we're seeing. We have another post right here which, just to give it a quick brief, is got nearly 5,000 upvotes on it, and essentially saying that they paid $400 on the game as a family. The father is still playing it, although he plays it quite a lot more, and he binges into this game. As an overall, though, his two children of the ages of 17 and 21 have already stopped playing. They said that there's no reason to play past around the level 70-ish mark because the loot is so lackluster. It doesn't pay off being able to do it, whether it is like on that motive where they're just not receiving the loot that they want, or the loot to chase is so minute that they just don't have the motivation to get jumped in and start grinding out all of these dungeons, Helltides, Nightmares, and all this sort of stuff. They just don't want to do it because it doesn't feel like it's going to pay off, and I completely agree with them, to be fair. I feel like the loot is completely boring, and even the uniques, the ones that they're receiving, are just not as good as the ones they have attached. It's just the way that this game seems to have worked, so they definitely need to rework the looting system. Whether they will or not, we'll have to wait and see what Blizzard is saying. But right now, people just getting peed off, and especially with the fact that some of the stuff that we want changing won't be changed until Season 2. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. We don't even have a date for Season 1 yet. And Asmongold did a video where he spoke about this, and he essentially said, we've not got a date for Season 1, but we know that we have to wait for Season 2 for this change. So essentially, throughout Season 1, if you purchase the stuff inside of it, you are going to be paying for what is undoubtedly a lesser version of what this game could be and will be, purely because they don't want to change it mid-season. It's absolutely bonkers. I don't really understand that concept of it, but we'll have to see exactly how that one pans out. That's all we've got time for today, though. Let me know your comments down in the comment section below. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate you all, and as always, up until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.